Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so very much for dropping by this video. To anyone who's new, this channel is about a very special teacher named Bruno Groening. You can learn more about him. The links are provided in the chat box and in the description below. So I started off by saying, you are a divine creation, a divine marvel. What on earth does that mean? Well, it goes back to the question of what are we? What are you? What am I? What is a human being? So Bruno Groening said that a human being is a spirit, a soul, and a body. And he would very directly ask people, he would say, "Are you a body?" And they would say, "Yes." And he would say, No, you're not a body. And this teaching is very common in the East. The idea that we are a soul that inhabits a body. You could think of the body like a car and the soul as a driver. One Eastern teacher said it very well. You don't have a soul, you are a soul. So, to understand what it means to be a divine creation or a divine marvel, first we need to take a step back and reorient ourselves to what am I? To I'm not this. This is very nice. We're not saying that this is bad. We'll talk about that in a moment. But this is not me. This is more the vehicle or the vessel through which I'm experiencing life. So, we inhabit a body, but what are we? Well, that's where we get to this idea of spirit and soul. Bruno talked quite a bit about what it means to be a soul, and he talked just a little bit about what it means to be a spirit. So I'll share the teachings of his that I am aware of. So as a soul, we're on this very vast journey. He once held out his arms, like maybe this big, and he said, "This particular lifetime, friends, this is this much." And he held up his hands with just a little, held up his fingers with a little space in between. So when we identify with the body, as is common in Western philosophy and theology, we think, well, this is my one life, and when this life is done, then I'm done, or I'm dead. And then maybe, depending on your belief, maybe this body will be resurrected, but this is me. Whereas in Bruno Groening's teaching, and again, this is very common in the East, we are an eternal soul that is on a vast journey, and we inhabit different bodies and different forms on that journey. And Bruno Groening very interestingly said that this life here on earth is a school, because once you've sat with the idea of I'm a soul on this vast journey, you may ask, well, what's the purpose of this journey? And that's a very legitimate and important question. Well, Bruno Groening gave a few answers, but one of his main answers was that to be in a body on this earth is to participate in a divine school that we're all here to learn. He also talked about one of, you could say, the highest lessons, or maybe the ultimate lesson, which is to enter fully into God, or to experience what he called salvation, complete freedom from all evil, from every from the energy of evil. And he also spoke about the idea of becoming completely unattached to worldly things. And he also spoke about the capacity to be at peace no matter what is happening around you. I don't know about you, but that sounds wonderful to me. And it sounds quite divine, because When I examine my day-to-day experience, what I notice is that moment by moment, my level of peace changes quite radically throughout the day. Actually, right now I'm doing a journal. I'm working with an Ayurveda practitioner. That's a traditional India as in Vedic, from the East. It's a traditional holistic form of healing. And what this person is having me do is chart my energy levels and my mood and my level of stress and what I'm doing every half hour for 4 days. Now, it's been very powerful because what I see is that my mood and my level of peace is not constant. So I've said it very many times on this channel. I'm not a guru. I'm not a saint. And this exercise is really bringing it home. My level of peace still very much fluctuates. But Bruno Groening talked about learning how to be at peace under all circumstances, a very worthwhile goal. And Bruno Groening said that he himself found that, which is very impressive because his life was very challenging on the outside, much less the inside. All the negative energy coming his way and the force of evil itself trying to pull him off the good path, trying to inhibit his work. I can only imagine what it was like. So let's sit for a few minutes. I've offered some really big ideas. The idea that we're not a body, but that we are a soul inhabiting a body, that we're on this vast journey in which this body is just one body, in which we have taken as part of that journey. And that this journey is not just kind of a meaningless merry-go-round, like we're not just cycling through different bodies just to experience things and just kind of for no reason, but it is actually a divine school for learning. And that one of the, I don't want to say higher lessons, but maybe ultimate or final lessons, and that's not to disregard all the other learnings that are very, very important. And Bruno Groening spoke of sort of, I don't want to put judgmental words on it, but a big learning, let's call it that, a big learning of entering fully into God, of finding complete freedom and finding complete unconditional peace, a peace that isn't disturbed by outer circumstances and isn't disturbed by inner circumstances, to where we freed ourselves from all evil from within so that that doesn't disturb our peace. So let's take a few minutes and reflect on some of these ideas, take in the divine energy. To anyone who's new to this channel, Bruno taught a technique called tuning in. I've placed a description for it below this video and a short description off to the side so you can get the directions for it. The essence of it is to observe your body with the intention to take in divine energy. So sit for a few minutes in silence. I'll offer a few pointers every now and then for doing this. Opening the heart, opening the soul to receive, asking our friend Bruno Groening, or if you have another spiritual helper or guide that you trust, asking them to help receive this divine energy. there's anything you're stressed about or worried about, please hand it over to God or to your spiritual helper. Taking in goodness, taking in the power, the energy of God, the blessing of God. Taking on faith and trust that everything will be all right. Letting thoughts pass on by. If it's a negative thought, firmly determining not to take it in and handing it over to God or your helper. Charging your spiritual batteries. Bruno Groening said we need to do this every day. Now, I started off this video by talking about sort of cosmic things, but let's talk about day-to-day life. Bruno Groening gave some very specific instructions for how to live, right? We talked about the big journey, but Bruno gave some very clear instructions for how to succeed on that journey, in what to do day by day. So Bruno Groening didn't teach a religion, he taught a way of life. a spiritual path. The essence of it, we just did. We received the divine energy, which he said was essential for a successful life on many levels. One of the levels being that only when we're full of the divine energy can we be aware when evil is trying to creep its way in. Now, the way that evil tends to creep in is not something big and dramatic. It's through thoughts. It's through negative, untrue thoughts. When we're full of divine energy and connected to the divine, then we can recognize those thoughts and repel them. That's evil's main way of attacking. And by evil, Bruno meant that which causes disharmony, that which causes harm, that which seeks to lead us away from God. So, very strongly connected with this idea of staying full of the divine energy is this recognition that we live right in between two energy sources and also two sources of thoughts. And that the nature of the soul is to receive. So the question is, what are we receiving? Which energy station are we tuning into? I like to think of it as a radio station. Am I tuning into the love, harmony, empowerment, divine station? Or am I tuning into the fear, resentment, dis-ease, unharmony, evil station? You can tell by your thoughts. Bruno said, the human being acts according to his will. The will determines the kind of thoughts he takes in, and the thoughts move a person to deed. So the practice then is to engage our will to connect to God. Based on that, we will tend to receive good thoughts. And based on that, we will be moved and inspired to do good deeds. Connected to all of this is the practice of having faith and trust and deepening that faith and trust in God. Many people think of faith in God as like you say a prayer, like, God, I believe in you. But Bruno expressed it as an active way of life, an attitude, something that goes through with us throughout our day. And that faith actually helps us to maintain connection with God. So we'll sit for a few more minutes, and then we'll wrap up. If anyone would like to share what they're feeling or experiencing, please do. As we take on faith to connect to the divine energy, be mindful of our thoughts. So I wish everyone a God filled and God-guided day. Thank you so much to everyone who joined in live and everyone who took the time to watch this video. Bruno Groening said, to be connected to God, that is everything. So let's seek that connection today. Take care. Big love.